My phone buzzed with Mia's text just as I was finishing up at work. Family dinner tonight. Bringing someone special. Don't be late. The exclamation point mocked me through the screen. My sister's definition of special usually meant trouble. I'm Isla, and I should have known better than to show up that night. The drive to my parents' house felt longer than usual, each traffic light conspiring to stretch out the inevitable family drama that awaited. Mia's special someone announcements had become a running joke, a parade of increasingly questionable boyfriends that our mother pretended to like and our father silently judged from behind his newspaper. The familiar scent of Mom's lasagna hit me as I walked through the door. Everything seemed normal at first, Dad in his usual spot at the head of the table, Mom fussing over the garlic bread. Mia's voice carrying from the living room. Then I heard it. That laugh. Deep, familiar, impossible. Ryan's laugh. My feet wouldn't move. The room tilted slightly as I stood there, purse still clutched in my hand. While my ex-boyfriend of 3 months walked into view with my baby sister's hand in his. Isla. Mia squealed, bouncing over to hug me. You made it. Look who I brought. Ryan had the decency to look uncomfortable, at least. His hand went to the back of his neck, that nervous tell I used to find endearing. Hey, Isla. What is this? The words came out barely above a whisper. Mom appeared beside me, wiping her hands on her apron. Sweetheart, why don't you sit down? The lasagna's getting cold. Did everyone know about this? I looked around the room, taking in the careful expressions, the avoided gazes. How long? We wanted to tell you properly, Mia started, her smile faltering. It just happened. We didn't plan it. Didn't plan it? I repeated, my voice rising. What exactly didn't you plan, Mia? Running into my ex-boyfriend? Dating him? Bringing him to family dinner like some sick surprise? Now, Isla, Dad finally spoke up, folding his newspaper. Let's not make a scene. A scene? I laughed, and it sounded strange even to my own ears. Oh, I'm sorry. Is finding out my sister is dating the man I was with for 2 years making you uncomfortable? Ryan stepped forward. Maybe we should talk about this privately. Don't. I held up my hand. Don't you dare try to be reasonable right now. How long? The silence that followed told me everything I needed to know. Mia's fingers twisted together, another tell, one we shared. 2 months, she finally admitted. 2 months. Which meant they'd started seeing each other just weeks after Ryan and I broke up. Maybe even before. Dinner's ready, Mom announced with forced cheerfulness. Everyone sit down, please. It'll all look better after we eat. I'm not hungry. I turned toward the door, then stopped. Turned back. Smiled at my sister. Congratulations, Mia. You always did want everything I had. Isla, please, Mia reached for me, but I stepped away. No, really. I hope you're happy together. Just remember something. I met Ryan's eyes. Everything that's yours now? Used to be mine. Every story, every secret, every little thing he thinks makes him special, I knew it first. Enjoy my leftovers. I walked out, letting the door slam behind me. In my car, I sat gripping the steering wheel, watching the warm light spill from my parents' windows. Through the glass, I could see them settling around the table, adjusting to my absence like they always did when Mia created chaos. My phone buzzed again. A text from Mom, she's still your sister. I stared at those words until they blurred. Yes, Mia was still my sister. And that's exactly why this betrayal cut so deep. That's exactly why she needed to learn what it felt like to lose everything she cared about. I started the car, my mind already spinning with possibilities. If Mia wanted to play games, I'd show her how it's done. After all, no one knows your weaknesses better than family. 3 days of silence felt like a lifetime. My phone lit up constantly with messages from Mom, each one more desperate than the last. I deleted them all without reading. Dad, true to form, hadn't reached out at all. The office became my sanctuary until Claire from accounting ruined even that. Did you hear about the new project manager? She leaned over my cubicle wall, coffee mug in hand. Apparently, he's dating someone in marketing. My fingers froze over the keyboard. What? Ryan Mitchell? Started last week? Claire's eyes widened. Oh God, I thought you knew. He's been assigned to our team. The fluorescent lights suddenly seemed too bright. Ryan. Here. Working in my building, probably taking the same elevator, breathing the same recycled air. I grabbed my phone, scrolling through the company announcements I'd been ignoring. There it was. Ryan Mitchell, new project manager, marketing division. My office phone rang, making me jump. Mom's number flashed on the display. I let it go to voicemail, but she called right back. What? I snapped, finally answering. Isla, please come over for dinner tonight. Her voice carried that familiar mix of hope and resignation. Your father and I need to talk to you. About what? How to be happy for the happy couple. About being a family. She paused. Mia won't be here. Just us. I should have said no. Should have maintained my wall of silence. Instead, I heard myself agreeing. The house looked exactly the same when I arrived, Mom's perfectly maintained roses, Dad's newspaper on the porch swing. As if nothing had changed. As if my sister hadn't taken a wrecking ball to my life. You look tired, Mom said, pulling me into a hug I didn't return. Dad stood in the doorway, hands in his pockets. Come in. Your mother made pot roast. The dining room felt smaller than I remembered. We sat in our usual places, the empty chair between Mom and me screaming Mia's absence. We're worried about you, Mom started, passing the potatoes. Both of you. Both of us? I stabbed a carrot with my fork. That's rich. How's Mia doing? Still playing house with my ex? She's miserable, Dad said quietly. And so are you. Good. Isla. Mom set down her fork. What happened between you and Ryan, it's complicated. But destroying your relationship with your sister won't fix anything. I laughed. Complicated? He's working in my building now. Did you know that? Did Mia arrange that too? Their shared look told me everything. She did, didn't she? The realization hit like ice water. She got him the job. Through Uncle James in HR. She thought. Mom trailed off. She thought what? That having him around would make it easier? That we could all be one big happy family? Dad cleared his throat. Your sister made a mistake. A mistake is burning dinner. A mistake is forgetting someone's birthday. This? I pushed my plate away. This is a choice. And now I get to make mine. What does that mean? Mom's voice sharpened with worry. I stood up, smoothing my skirt. It means I'm done pretending this is something we can fix over pot roast. Mia wants to play games? Fine. But she forgot something important. What's that? Dad asked, though his expression suggested he already knew. I've been watching her games our whole lives. I know all her moves. I headed for the door, then turned back. Oh, and Mom? You might want to ask her about Uncle James's recommendation letter. The one she forged last year for her internship. Wouldn't want that getting out, would we? Isla, please, Mom started. But I was already gone, the satisfaction of their shocked faces warming me more than any family dinner could. Mia had always been the family favorite, the golden child who could do no wrong. Time to tarnish that gold a little. My phone buzzed as I reached my car. A text from Ryan, we need to talk. I smiled, deleting the message. Oh, we would talk. Just not in the way he expected. After all, I had 2 years' worth of secrets about both of them and plenty of time to decide how to use them. The coffee shop across from my office became my surveillance post. Every morning, I watched Ryan walk into the building, sometimes alone, sometimes with Mia. Today was different. Today, I had proof. Sarah from IT had come through. The email thread displayed on my phone made my hands shake, messages between Ryan and Mia dating back to when he and I were still together. Sweet nothings. Secret meetups. Plans. Your usual? The barista's voice startled me. No. I stood up, gathering my things. I'm done here. The elevator ride to the marketing floor felt eternal. Each ding marked another floor, another moment to reconsider what I was about to do. But the weight of my phone in my pocket, heavy with evidence, pushed me forward. Ryan's new office had a glass wall. He sat at his desk, talking on the phone, looking exactly like he had when he'd sit in my apartment, planning our future. Our future that had become his and Mia's present. I knocked. He looked up, face shifting from surprise to wariness. I'll call you back, he said into the phone. Busy day? I stepped inside, closing the door behind me. Isla, this isn't a good time. When did it start? I pulled out my phone, sliding it across his desk. Before or after you told me you needed space? He glanced at the screen, color draining from his face. How did you get these? Does it matter? Answer the question. It's complicated. I laughed, the sound sharp enough to make him flinch. Try me. I'm pretty good with complicated these days. We never meant to. 3 months. I cut him off. That's how long before our breakup these messages start. 3 months of lying to my face while sleeping with my sister. He stood up, reaching for me. That's not how it happened. We never. Don't touch me. I stepped back. You know what's funny? I actually believed you when you said you needed time to find yourself. I respected that. Meanwhile, you were finding yourself in my sister's bed. Keep your voice down, he hissed, glancing at the glass wall where curious faces had started to gather. Why? Worried about your reputation? Don't worry, I'm not here to make a scene. I pulled out a USB drive. I'm here to give you a choice. What choice? You can either tell Mia the truth about everything, including Jessica from accounting last month, or I can forward these emails to HR. I'm sure they'd love to know how their new project manager conducts himself. His jaw clenched. You're bluffing. Try me. Oh, and those drinks you had with Jessica? I have pictures. Mia might be interested in those too. This isn't you, Isla. You're better than this. I was better than this. Then my sister and my boyfriend decided I wasn't worth basic human decency. I headed for the door, then turned back. You have until tomorrow. Choose wisely. In the hallway, my composure cracked. I made it to the bathroom just in time to throw up, hands shaking as I gripped the cold porcelain. My phone buzzed, Mia calling. Again. 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 Finally, I answered. What? Mom told me what you said about the recommendation letter. Her voice trembled. You wouldn't. Wouldn't I? You didn't think I'd find out about you and Ryan either, but here we are. Please, Isla. That internship is everything to me. If they find out. If they find out what? That perfect Mia is a fraud? That she forges documents and steals boyfriends? Silence stretched between us, heavy with years of competition and resentment. I loved him first, she whispered. The words hit like a physical blow. What? In college. When you first brought him home. I loved him first, but he chose you. He always chose you. I ended the call, sliding down the bathroom wall as the implications sank in. 4 years. She'd wanted him for 4 years, watching us, waiting. Playing the supportive sister while plotting. My phone buzzed again, a text from Ryan, we need to talk. About everything. I smiled through tears, typing back, too late. The game had changed. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about unraveling 4 years of lies, and I was just getting started. Mom's garden always bloomed earliest on our street. Today, her roses seemed to mock me as I stood at the door, letter in hand. I'd driven by 3 times before finally parking, the weight of what I was about to do sitting heavy in my chest. The doorbell chimed. No answer. I pressed it again, knowing she was home. Her car sat in the driveway, blue paint dulled by pollen. I saw you through the window, I called out. We need to talk. The door opened. Mom looked older somehow, circles under her eyes darker than I remembered. About what? More threats. About this. I held up the envelope. Found it while cleaning out my old desk. Remember when Mia asked me to proofread her college application essay? Her face changed, understanding dawning. Isla, don't. I kept it. The original version. The one before she rewrote it completely. Claiming Dad had abandoned us for 6 months when we were kids. I stepped inside without waiting for an invitation. Funny how that never happened, right? Your sister was desperate to stand out in her applications. She got into Princeton with that essay. Full scholarship. I dropped the envelope on the coffee table. Built her whole college career on a lie about our family. About Dad. Mom sank into her armchair, hands trembling slightly. What do you want? I want the truth. About everything. I remained standing, needing the height advantage. Did you know about her and Ryan? Before? Her silence answered for her. How long? Isla, please. How? Long. She picked up her tea, took a sip. Set it down again. Since Christmas. I saw them in the kitchen when everyone else was opening presents. The memory hit hard, me showing off my new engagement ring while my sister and boyfriend were sneaking moments behind my back. In our family home. During Christmas. That's why you weren't surprised when he called off the engagement in January. I tried to talk to her, Mom said quietly. She said it was real this time. That she'd loved him since college. And that made it okay? My voice cracked. Because she loved him longer, she deserved him more. No one deserved this pain. She stood up, reaching for me. But destroying her life won't fix yours. I stepped back. I'm not destroying anything. I'm just telling the truth. Like I'm going to tell Dad about that essay. He'll never forgive her. Maybe he shouldn't. I headed for the door, then stopped. Oh, and that recommendation letter she forged? I sent copies to the university board this morning. They're launching an investigation into her degree. You didn't. Mom's face went pale. Isla, that will ruin her career. Everything she's worked for. Everything she's lied for, I corrected. Actions have consequences, Mom. Isn't that what you always taught us? My phone buzzed, Ryan calling again. I declined it, but not before Mom saw his name. He's been trying to explain, she said softly. Maybe you should listen. Like you listened when you saw them together at Christmas? When you watched me plan a wedding while my sister and fiancé sneaked around behind my back? The silence stretched between us, filled with years of chosen blindness and careful lies. I'm tired of being the only honest person in this family, I said finally. So now everyone gets to face their truth. Even you. What does that mean? I pulled out my phone, showed her the screen. Dad's been copying me on all his emails since the dinner disaster. Including the ones about his private investigator. The one looking into your weekly tennis lessons that aren't actually tennis lessons. Her sharp intake of breath confirmed everything. Guess Mia learned from the best, didn't she? I opened the door. Family dinner should be interesting this week. If anyone still shows up. Walking back to my car, I felt hollow rather than triumphant. My phone buzzed again, a text from Mia, please stop. We need to talk. There's something you don't know. I started the engine, ignoring the message. Whatever secret she was holding onto, whatever explanation she thought would fix this, it was too late. The dominoes were falling, and I'd made sure they'd take everyone down with them. Grandma Rose's antique china gleamed under the dining room lights. Mom always saved it for special occasions, birthdays, holidays, and apparently, family implosions. The annual Thompson family dinner felt more like a powder keg waiting for a spark. Dad sat at the head of the table, scanning his phone with unusual intensity. Mom's hands shook slightly as she arranged the silverware. Uncle James and Aunt Patricia whispered in the corner, stealing glances at me. Everyone knew something was coming. They just didn't know what. Mia arrived last, Ryan trailing behind her like a shadow. The bruises under her eyes matched Mom's now. You came, Mia said, voice small. I smiled, raising my wine glass. Wouldn't miss it. The first course passed in artificial pleasantries. Uncle James praised Ryan's work performance. Aunt Patricia commented on Mom's new curtains. Dad kept checking his phone. Actually, I set down my fork, I have an announcement. Mom's knife clattered against her plate. Isla, please. I've accepted a position in London. The lie rolled off my tongue smoothly. I'm leaving next week. Mia's head snapped up. What? But before I go, I thought we should clear the air. Get everything out in the open. I pulled out a folder. Dad, remember that investigation you started? The color drained from Mom's face. Isla, don't, Mia whispered. Why not? Isn't honesty important? I turned to Uncle James. Like being honest about professional recommendations? Or college applications? Ryan reached for Mia's hand. The gesture made my stomach turn. What investigation? Dad finally spoke, putting down his phone. The one that revealed Mom's tennis instructor is actually a real estate agent named David. I slid the photos across the table. They've been house hunting together. Among other things. The silence was deafening. While we're sharing, I continued, Mia's Princeton essay about Dad abandoning us. Complete fiction. And that recommendation letter that landed her dream job? Forged with Uncle James's letterhead. That's enough, Ryan stood up. Oh, I'm just getting started. I pulled out my phone. Should we discuss the Christmas affair? Or wait, here's a better one. Ryan, tell them about Jessica from accounting. Mia's hand fell from his. What? Isla, stop, Mom pleaded. Why? Isn't this what family dinners are for? Sharing news? I stood up, watching their faces crumble. Like how Ryan was sleeping with both of us before the engagement ended. Or how Mom's been planning to leave Dad for months. Dad's chair scraped back. Without a word, he walked out. The front door slammed behind him. How could you? Mia's voice broke. How could I? How could you? The words burst out, raw and ragged. You were my sister. I am your sister. No. I grabbed my purse. Sisters don't destroy each other's lives. But hey, at least now everyone knows exactly who they're dealing with. I headed for the door, but Ryan blocked my path. This isn't just about them anymore. You're destroying yourself too. Move. Not until you listen. There's something you need to know. A crash made us both turn. Mom had collapsed, china shattered around her feet. Aunt Patricia rushed to help while Uncle James called an ambulance. Mia grabbed my arm, fingers digging in. Are you happy now? Is this enough revenge for you? I pulled away, but her next words stopped me cold. Mom has cancer. Stage 4. Those house hunting trips? They're for a smaller place, closer to the treatment center. She didn't want anyone to know until after your wedding. Then everything happened with Ryan, and The room tilted. Through the window, I could see Dad sitting in his car, head in his hands. Behind me, Mom sobbed quietly while Aunt Patricia picked up broken china. My perfect revenge had just shattered everything, including the truth I thought I knew. The London job is a lie, Mia said quietly. You're running away because you know you've gone too far. But you can't take this back, Isla. Some things break for good. I walked out into the night, leaving behind the ruins of my handiwork. My phone buzzed, a message from the university board confirming Mia's investigation. One click and I could complete my revenge. Instead, I turned off my phone and drove, the taste of victory turning to ash in my mouth. The hospital corridor stretched endlessly, each step echoing with the weight of what I'd done. 3 days since the dinner. 3 days of silence broken only by beeping monitors and hushed conversations outside Mom's room. I hadn't gone in yet. Couldn't. Coffee? Ryan appeared beside me, holding out a paper cup. I hadn't seen him approach. Why are you still here? Someone should be. He set the cup down on a nearby chair. Mia's meeting with the university board. Dad's? Wherever Dad is. And you're out here, haunting the hallway. Don't pretend you care. I do care. That's the problem, isn't it? He leaned against the wall. I care about both of you. Always have. Is that what you told Jessica too? His jaw tightened. You want the truth? Jessica was a mistake. One night of feeling sorry for myself after Mia told me she was pregnant. The words hit like a physical blow. What? She lost it. 2 weeks ago. Didn't want anyone to know, especially you. He pushed off the wall. Congratulations, Isla. Your revenge just keeps getting better. I slid down the wall, legs giving out. Through the window of Mom's room, I could see her sleeping, smaller somehow against the white sheets. My phone buzzed, a message from Dad, signed the divorce papers. Don't tell your mother yet. She doesn't need more stress. Another buzz, the university board, investigation concluded. Degree revoked effective immediately. The victories I'd wanted so badly tasted like poison now. Isla. Mom's voice, weak but clear, carried from her room. I looked up to find her watching me through the window. My feet carried me inside before I could stop them. The smell of antiseptic and illness wrapped around me like a shroud. I'm sorry, I whispered. For what? She patted the bed beside her. For exposing my affair? For destroying your sister's career? For breaking your father's heart? Or for becoming exactly what you hated in others? Each word landed like a knife. I didn't know about everything. Would it have mattered? She coughed, and I reached for her water. You wanted revenge more than you wanted truth. They betrayed me. And now you've betrayed yourself. She gripped my hand, her fingers cold. I raised you better than this. Did you? You taught us to lie. To hide. To pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. I taught you to protect each other. Her grip tightened. Instead, you're tearing each other apart. The door opened. Mia stood there, eyes red, clutching papers. The university's logo gleamed at the top. It's done, she said flatly. They took everything. My degree, my job. Everything I worked for. Mia. Don't. She stepped inside, closing the door. You won. Are you happy now? Mom's monitor beeped faster. Girls, please. I didn't know about the baby, I said quietly. Mia's face crumpled. No, you didn't. You didn't know about a lot of things. But you didn't care enough to ask, did you? It was easier to destroy than understand. I understand betrayal. You understand nothing. She moved to Mom's other side. Ryan loved you. I loved you. But you couldn't see past your own pain long enough to see ours. Mom's grip went slack. The monitor's rhythm changed. Mom? Mia's voice sharpened with fear. Alarms started blaring. Medical staff rushed in, pushing us aside. Words like pressure dropping and code blue filled the air. In the chaos, I caught a glimpse of Dad in the doorway, watching. Our eyes met for a moment before he turned and walked away. Mia and I ended up in the hallway again, watching through the window as doctors fought to stabilize our mother. The space between us felt infinite. If she dies, Mia said softly, it's not just on you. It's on all of us. But you're the only one who chose this path. I wanted to argue, to defend myself, to explain. But there was nothing left to say. I'd won every battle and lost everything that mattered. The alarms kept screaming, and all I could do was watch the consequences of my victory unfold. The hospital chapel smelled of stale flowers and desperation. Mom had stabilized, but the doctor's words hung heavy, touch and go, critical condition, next 24 hours. I sat in the back pew, watching dust motes dance in the colored light from the stained glass. The door creaked. Mia's footsteps echoed on the stone floor. I found Mom's journal, she said, sitting 3 pews ahead. In her hospital bag. You should read it. Why? Because you think you know everything. She placed a worn leather notebook on the bench beside her. But you don't know anything. I moved forward, 1 pew at a time, like approaching a wild animal. What's in it? The truth. About Christmas. About Ryan. About everything. She stood, turning to face me. About why I couldn't tell you I was pregnant. My hand froze over the journal. You could have told me anything. Could I? Her laugh was hollow. Like you told me about the engagement before announcing it at Christmas? Or about moving to London with him after the wedding? What? Read it. She pushed the journal toward me. Page 43. The pages crackled as I found the date, December 23rd, last year. Mom's elegant handwriting filled the page. Gisla's planning to surprise everyone with her engagement at Christmas dinner. She and Ryan are moving to London in the spring. Mia broke down when she found out. Said she's been in love with him since college, but stayed quiet for her sister's happiness. My vision blurred. You knew about London? Ryan told me. After I kissed him at Thanksgiving. Mia wrapped her arms around herself. I was drunk and stupid and hurting. He pushed me away, said he loved you. But something changed after that. He started seeing me differently. So you took advantage of that? No. I stayed away. Until Christmas, when you announced the engagement and London in front of everyone. Her voice cracked. You were taking him away forever, and I hadn't even had a chance to. To what? To steal him? To get over him. The words exploded between us. I spent years watching you live my dream. Being the perfect daughter, the successful sister, getting the man I loved. Do you know what that's like? Poor Mia. Always the victim. No. I'm not the victim. I'm the villain. I know that. She stepped closer. But so are you. And Ryan. And Mom and Dad. We're all broken people breaking each other. The journal's weight felt impossible in my hands. Why tell me this now? Because Mom might die. Because I lost my baby. Because you destroyed my career trying to punish me for something that started long before that night at Christmas. She wiped her eyes. Because I'm tired of pretending I'm either innocent or evil. The truth is messier than that. What truth? That I loved him first, but you loved him better. That he chose you, but settled for me. That I wanted to hurt you as much as I was hurting. She reached for the journal. And that Mom knew everything, trying to protect us both while hiding her own secrets. Our hands met over the leather cover. For a moment, we were children again, fighting over a toy, neither willing to let go. Ryan's gone, she said quietly. Left this morning. said he couldn't keep hurting either of us. Good. Is it? Look what we did to each other over someone who couldn't choose. She released the journal. We're sisters, Isla. That should have meant more than any man. The chapel door opened again. Dad stood there, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Your mother's asking for you. Both of you. Mia turned to leave, then paused. You know what the worst part is? I didn't just lose my baby and my career. I lost my sister. And that hurts more than anything Ryan ever did to either of us. She walked away, leaving me with Mom's journal and the weight of years of unspoken truths. The colored light from the windows painted patterns on the pages, like stained tears on confessions too late to matter. I closed the journal, finally understanding that revenge hadn't just destroyed my targets, it had destroyed me too. Mom's roses needed pruning. I stood in her garden, clippers in hand, staring at the overgrown bushes she'd tended so carefully. The morning air carried the antiseptic smell from my scrubs. Night shift at the hospital had ended hours ago, but I couldn't bring myself to go home. The back door creaked. Dad stepped out, coffee mug in hand. She's being discharged today, he said. I nodded, cutting away dead branches. The thorns caught my skin, but I barely felt them. Mia's picking her up. He paused. They're moving into the apartment near the treatment center. Another branch fell. What about you? I'll stay here. Someone needs to take care of her roses. The unspoken truth hung between us. He'd signed the divorce papers, but neither of them could let go completely. Not with Mom's diagnosis, not with everything else broken. I got a call from Princeton, I said, moving to the next bush. About Mia's degree. He stiffened. And? I told them I made it up. That I forged the evidence because I was angry about a personal matter. The thorns drew blood this time. They're reinstating her degree. That could cost you your job. Already did. 2-week suspension and a formal reprimand. I wiped my hands on my scrubs. Turns out actions have consequences. He set down his coffee, picked up another pair of clippers. We worked in silence, cutting away the dead growth, making space for new life. Your mother read me her journal, he finally said. About Mia loving Ryan first. About you planning to leave for London. About everything. Does it matter now? It matters that we all kept secrets thinking we were protecting each other. He straightened, looking at his roses. We're good at growing things, but terrible at keeping them alive. My phone buzzed, a message from Mia, Mom's ready. Coming home first for her gardening gloves. She says the hospital roses need help. I almost smiled. Even now, Mom couldn't stop trying to fix broken things. I'm not staying, I told Dad. I applied for a transfer to the Seattle hospital. Running away? No. Learning to live with what I've done. I gathered the cut branches. Some things can't be fixed with pruning and patience. The sound of a car pulling up made us both turn. Mia helped Mom out, supporting her thin frame. They paused at the garden gate, taking in the sight of their family's wreckage. You started without me, Mom said, her voice stronger than it had been in weeks. Just the dead parts, I replied. She moved slowly to the roses, touching the fresh cuts. Sometimes you have to hurt things to help them heal. I think we've all done enough hurting. Mia's voice cracked. Mom reached for her gardening gloves, the familiar motion somehow both fragile and certain. Then let's try helping instead. We worked together, for broken people trying to save what was left. No one mentioned Ryan, or London, or the secrets we'd all kept. The roses didn't care about our past, they just needed tending. As the sun climbed higher, I found myself working on the same bush as Mia. Our hands met reaching for the same branch. I can't forgive you yet, she said quietly. I know. I pulled back, letting her make the cut. I can't forgive myself either. But maybe. She hesitated. Maybe we can learn to grow something new. I looked at our parents, working on opposite ends of the garden, connected by flowers if not by marriage. At Mom, fighting cancer but still teaching us how to nurture life. At Mia, wounded but not destroyed by my revenge. The morning light caught the dewdrops on the roses, making them shine like tears or stars or possibilities. I picked up my clippers again, ready to cut away more dead growth, knowing that healing, like gardening, takes time and leaves scars. Some thorns you learn to live with. Some cuts never fully heal. But maybe that's what makes the roses bloom so beautifully, they know the cost of growing.